Hey guys, welcome to Unintimidated, the Tim Ellis Show. I'm Tim Ellis, your host, and today we have an outside edition because the room, I'm trying to change up the background, see if this is a bit of a better one. I mean, clearly I have some construction in the back and the volleyball court's on the other side. Um, I don't know, still looking around for a good spot that has Wi Fi because this recording editor, this video editor is a pain without it. So, yeah, today's topic is going to be on Andrew Tate. Uh, so yeah, I guess a little bit of background on Andrew Tate. He's kind of his aggressive, in your face, say it like it is styles kind of been dominating social media platforms, especially those with like shorter clips, um, such as like YouTube Shorts, TikTok. He's been doing phenomenally well on, and I've seen a few Instagram reels of his as well. So yeah, he doesn't hide from a fight. He's also kind of a misogynist, and not kind of, he really is. So yeah, his explosive, often controversial messages have often been on your For You page at one point or another. And if they haven't, count yourself blessed. Um, but recently, he got himself banned from all social media platforms that I'm aware of. And the reason being given is due to a lot of his talk on women, how he speaks of women. He's very objectifying of them. He's very much you can find clips all over the place of him being like, "Oh, a woman's not allowed to do that because she's mine. She shouldn't be leaving the house. She shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be doing that. She should be, she should be cooking for me. She should be paying me if she has an OnlyFans and stuff like that." So these these clips of Tate got him famous very quickly, but also kind of got him canceled as well. So there are a lot of people in support of him because they like the brand of masculinity that he's bartering and speaking about. And I agree, it is a very, at first sight, it is relatively appealing because it's a very great contrast to like the soy boy beta male that often dominates in today's society, where it's just like, oh, bow down to women. They're so great. They're so awesome. They're so powerful. And how dare we pay them less? How dare we do this? How dare we do that? Men aren't actually that much stronger. This, that, and the other thing. And Tate has a very like in your face, straightforward, like, no, men are stronger. Men are more powerful. Men are this. Men are that. You shouldn't be like he has a very alpha mentality. Um, I get for him, I guess it's called being a G. Um, So, yeah, and this it's been gaining a lot of popularity because of this. Um, but is that popularity actually well deserved? And indeed, should people be listening to his message? Um, I mean, it's very clear to an extent that some of his stuff is just you should just throw out. Anything that he usually says concerning women is just very much not not healthy whatsoever. It's very abusive and whatnot. But I don't know. In my opinion, he does have some good takes on masculinity. Um, he was a professional kickboxer. He walks the walk, talks the talk, and he might be a little more appealing than other more, I guess, scholarly examples of masculinity, such as Jordan Peterson, who has an insane amount of great advice on masculinity, but um, he doesn't quite look the part quite as much as Tate does. Like you see Tate, and you're just like, this man can do damage. This man is a considerable force to be reckoned with. Here, let me adjust my camera here. This is driving me nuts. Also, I'm gonna get a cart right here. Second. And so yeah, Tate. Tate kind of he's gained prominence because of that, and he's definitely blown up as a course or as on account of that, and also because he's been using his followers and having and telling them to share all of his reels, all of his shorts, and to do that, they've been sharing like his kind of most controversial, most like potent just to get the views, right? Because if you see somebody saying something that's just so outrageous, you're like, "Oh, I can't believe he said that." You're gonna like probably share it with a friend. You're gonna be like, "Oh, hey, check this out. This is absolutely ridiculous." And he's gonna see it, and eventually you're gonna find someone who actually is like, "Oh, I actually agree with that." So yeah, the problem with Tate is that he stands up as an example of masculinity, like I've been saying, but he stands up as an example of toxic masculinity, of the type of masculinity that doesn't back down from a fight, even if you shouldn't be in that fight. It doesn't back down from somebody else's fight. It doesn't back down from any fight that you could possibly get involved in any way, shape, or form. And it's kind of damaging because it's not like you need to retreat from every situation, but there are some situations where you just need to be able to admit, like, yeah, that I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong. I'm not able to do this. Can I have some help? Can I do this? Whatever. And you can't always just be like, oh, this is mine. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the most powerful. And that's the mentality that Tate has. Tate has this mentality of just like pure alpha and strength and raw power and adrenaline and testosterone because you can and because you are a man and because you should. And he it's very sex oriented as well. Like anytime you see him talking about, strength and power, he talks about a lot of times it in relation to men and getting women, which is just not the reason. You should not be a great man because you want a woman. You should be a great man, and because you're a great man, there is a woman who recognizes that greatness and appreciates that greatness, and then you also appreciate the greatness within her. That's how that should go. As far as Tate's concerned, they're just another body, just another source of pleasure, and it's not. It's seen as a prime example of masculinity, but it's not. His type of masculinity is just what all these boys that had their dads leave when they were young, didn't have a strong male figure in their life. They look up to this type of masculinity and they're like, "Oh, this is what I want. I want to have this. I want to be able to do this. I want to have this power. I want to have this strength. I want to have this ability. I want to be this confident. I don't want to have depression. I don't want to have I don't want to be sad anymore. I just want to be able to live my life and be happy and powerful and all these other masculine seeming traits that Tate pretends to give you the key to, but in actuality, what Tate's doing is he's forming you. If you're listening to him, if you're actually absorbing his message and actually paying attention to it, the type of masculinity he's giving you is the type of man who gets a woman pregnant and then runs away because he's afraid of it. But then he claims he's not afraid, that the woman was the problem and that it was her fault. And he refuses to take any responsibility for anything he's done and ends up being just yet another dad who's gone getting cigarettes or going getting milk, or at this point, going getting vape, and just never comes into his kid's life. Or if he is in his kid's life, he's abusive. He's verbally abusive. He's physically abusive because he has no recourse to any of the finer, like, empathy or any emotion that might express sorrow. Because according to Tate, you're supposed to just suppress those emotions to get girls, and that might help you get a girl, but it won't help you hold one. It won't help you raise one. My goodness, it won't help you raise a good man either. Like, if you look at all the great examples of men in history, all the way back, look at Greece. Greece spent more time than almost any other culture considering what a true man was. And to them, a true man was Achilles. Yeah, I know he cried. He did cry. He cried at the death of Patroclus. But I mean, also, like, it demonstrates Greece demonstrates men in as far as they're also flawed. And Tate doesn't recognize that. The only flaw for Tate is to show emotion or to show any sense of like, oh, this is difficult. This is I have like this, depression that you got to deal with. And like, yes, I understand to an extent. There's something to be said for like just moving on with your life and living your life and fighting just because you can't fall down. You can't just lay down, but you can't also ignore what's going on. And there's such a thing as clinical depression where it's not really your fault. It's a chemical imbalance that needs to be fixed. And Tate doesn't address that whatsoever. Tate just says that the only reason you have depression is because you acknowledge that depression exists. He's like, I'm not depressed. Because according Tate's like, I'm not depressed because I don't believe in depression. And he's like, the only reason when I go into a fight that anyone's afraid of me is because they believe that I have power to beat them. And the only reason that depression has any power to beat you is because you believe it has power to beat you and you give up because of it. And that's not the reason. A lot of people have very difficult situations, and that's understandable. It's not you can't lay down and cry about it, but it's very understandable if you're daunted by what you're fighting against. And it's very commendable to seek help, right? There's a suicide problem with men not because men acknowledge that there's depression, but because men refuse to acknowledge it and refuse to like deal with it in a healthy way. So they just suppress it and they go into drink, and then they go into the gym, and they try and work it out. And yeah, maybe the endorphins from gym help, but they're not the solution. And that's not we can't have a society that runs on either alcohol or pre-workout. Yeah, it's fine to have a drink. Yeah, it's great to have pre-workout. But also, there's something to be said for just being estover, be a man. You don't have to have anything else in your life that you add or that you see as a fight that you're just going into for no reason at all other than just to prove yourself. Yeah, you need to know who you are. You need to have this strong resolve. You need to be confident. But don't do that at the detriment of other virtues, right? So, the biggest problem with Tate, in my opinion, is that his version of masculinity is not virtuous. His version of masculinity refuses to acknowledge that there's anything that we can get from being kind or from being like from emulating with other people, from or not emulating, sorry, from empathizing on my tongue. Um, so yeah, that's the problem with Tate. And I don't know the solution. I really don't. Because we can't ban him from social media. I believe that's wrong. Um, because free speech. But at the same time, it's not acceptable to let someone say damaging things like that because he's just forming this generation of young boys into a generation like their fathers that cause them to be as depressed and as lonely and as cowardly as they are. He's just forming them into another generation of gone fathers who are gone chasing milk for years on end. He's just forming them to another generation of fathers who see that it's normal to just beat your wife whenever she does something wrong, or to be verbally abusive to your children because they messed up. And that's not acceptable whatsoever. So we need a solution. Andrew Tate's not that solution. I don't know what to do with Andrew Tate. I genuinely don't. Because we can't ban him. But his message is very much damaging. So I don't have a solution. I really don't. But what might help is being a true man yourself, or being a true woman yourself, and accepting nothing less from the people around you. So just keep spreading the positive masculinity, positive femininity, and hopefully that helps. I I don't know. It makes me sad that there is such a person out there who has these damaging messages, who's gaining as much fame as he is, because I've met so many people who follow his style of life, his opinion of life, and his mentality only presumes you win. You can't win everything. You lose a lot. This is life. We're human. We're fallible. We're mortal. And if you only know how to win, what are you going to do when you lose? So, anyways, thanks for watching my rant. This has been the Tim Ellis Show, unintimidated. Um, like, comment, subscribe. Please comment what your guys' opinion is, what you think. Um, like I said, I don't really know what to do with people like Tape because I would like to ban them. I would, but in a law-abiding society that maintains that law only because the citizens follow the law and because the law allows the citizens to have these certain freedoms, you're not allowed to do that. You cannot do that. So, yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. Hit me up on Instagram at the Tim Ellis Show. I'm on TikTok now. Not really sure about that decision, but I'm there. And then also on YouTube, unintimidated the Tim Ellis Show. So yeah, hit me up.